Today, we're going to talk about hacking fish food. Seriously, we are diving into a cutting-edge science called Nutrigenomics, and it's completely transforming how we farm fish. And, it could be a really crucial piece of the puzzle for how we sustainably feed our entire planet.
I mean, let's face it, this is one of the biggest questions of our time. The world's population is growing, and so is our demand for protein. So how on earth do we meet that demand without wrecking the planet? Well, the answer might be hiding in a place you probably never, ever expect.
I know. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but this is real, and it's happening right now. We're not just talking about what fish eat anymore. We're talking about how their food can actually communicate with their DNA to unlock their absolute full potential.
For a long, long time, aquaculture, that's fish farming, has been, well, more of an art than a science. A lot of it was based on trial and error. But honestly, with the stakes this high, that old guesswork approach just isn't going to cut it anymore. We have to move towards precision.
And here's the real problem with the old way. Sure, a traditional fish feed might make a fish bigger, but what's really going on inside? Is that food causing some kind of hidden inflammation? Is the fish even using the nutrients efficiently? The traditional methods, well, they just can't see these incredibly complex interactions. And that leads to waste and, frankly, less healthy animals.
So this is where it all gets really exciting. This is the breakthrough. Nutrigenomics is the science that lets us go beyond just feeding fish. We can now actively interact with their biology on a genetic level. We're not just giving them calories anymore. We are literally sending them instructions.
Okay, so what is it at its core? Nutrigenomics is basically the science of figuring out how specific ingredients in food can flip genes on or off. It's all about using diet to control the genetic blueprint an animal already has to get the best possible health and growth.
Now, this is a super important question, and it's a really common point of confusion. You hear influencing genes, and your mind immediately jumps to GMOs, right? It's a natural assumption. But as you're about to see, this is something totally, completely different.
Here's the best way to think about it. Imagine an organism's DNA is its computer hardware, the physical chips, the motherboard. Genetic modification, something like CRISPR, that's like going in and physically changing that hardware. But nutrigenomics, that's the software. We're not touching the hardware at all. We're using food to give the existing hardware better instructions, to tell it how to run more efficiently, without ever changing a single line of the fundamental code.
So how in the world do scientists actually listen in on this conversation between food and genes? Well, they have this incredible set of tools called the Omic sciences, and these tools give them a view inside the animal like we've never had before.
This toolkit, it's amazing. It gives scientists this complete, multi-layered picture of what's happening. You have genomics to map the whole blueprint, but the real game changer here is transcriptomics. This lets us see in real time exactly which genes are being fired up or shut down by a new diet. We can spot problems like gut inflammation long before you'd ever see a physical symptom. It's like getting a live diagnostic report straight from the fish's own cells.
Okay, this is where all that theory becomes reality. And trust me, it is absolutely fascinating. Using this toolkit, scientists are getting some mind-blowing results that are just completely upending the aquaculture industry.
This might be the single most powerful idea in all of nutrigenomics. It's this concept that what a fish eats in just the first few days and weeks of its life can fundamentally reprogram its metabolism for its entire life.
So here's how it works. During this really critical window early in its life, a fish gets a very specific nutritional diet. This basically trains its metabolism, creating a permanent metabolic memory. And the result? An adult fish that's stronger, grows better, and is just way more efficient. It's a nutritional head start that pays off for its whole life. Just stop and think about what this really means for a second. We can take a fish that's a natural carnivore, like a salmon, and by programming it with the right food when it's young, we can essentially teach it to have an herbivorous metabolism. This means as an adult, it can thrive on sustainable plant-based proteins. This could solve one of the single biggest sustainability challenges we have in aquaculture. It's incredible.
And it doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Scientists are creating feeds that act like immunological shields to stop diseases before they can even start. They're making resilience diets that help fish handle the stress of climate change. And through epigenetics, they've discovered that a mother fish can actually pass these nutritional advantages down to her kids.
So what does all this add up to? It's a massive, fundamental shift in how we think about this. We're moving away from a reactive model that just cares about the final weight of a fish to a proactive, predictive one.
Instead of just waiting to see what happens, scientists are now watching the cellular response first, and they're optimizing for molecular health and genetic efficiency right from day one.
So what's next? Where does this all go? Well, all of these Omic tools, they create an absolutely insane amount of data, and figuring out how to handle all that data is setting the stage for the next giant leap in aquaculture tech, artificial intelligence.
Picture this: AI models that are crunching all of this complex genetic data in real time. These models could create dynamic, smart feed formulas that change on the fly, based on a fish's age, its environment, the water temperature, its exact needs at that very moment. That is the future of precision nutrition.
It all just leaves you with this one big, powerful question. By decoding this hidden conversation between food and genes, we're not just growing healthier fish. We are building a more efficient, a more resilient, and a more sustainable food system for all of us. It turns out that hacking a fish's dinner might just be one of the most important keys to feeding the world.